The National News Desk, locally covered, nationally connected.
It's an all hands on deck. Everybody we got are out here, but also we have an additional 2,000 plus people helping us.
The missing list grows, as does the death toll in Texas. The latest on search and rescue efforts as other parts of the country are also hit with flooding tragedies.
OSA last year and this year have chosen to not protect women in sports.
Fairness in sports headed to court in one state as the Trump administration responds to California's decision not to comply with federal edicts on Title IX. And could a TikTok sale finally be coming? What the social media site is doing to prepare life in the U.S. detached from its Chinese makers. This is the National News Desk, America's News. Now, I'm Didi Gatton, and a state of emergency has been declared in New Mexico as historic flooding in the southwest has turned deadly again. At least 3 people, including 2 children, were swept downstream by catastrophic flooding of the Ruidoso River last night. More than 50 people were rescued as the river crested at levels never seen before.
Rio Ruidoso crested at a historical high of 20 feet. Last year during the historic flood, it was over 15 feet, so we're 5 feet over last year. The water level was again 5 feet over last year, which was a record.
Meanwhile, in Texas, search and rescue operations and other recovery operations are on their 6th day following the horrific floods of July 4th. The death toll continues to rise. At least 115 people have died, making this the deadliest inland flood in the U.S. since 1976, when 144 people were killed in Colorado's Big Thompson Canyon flood. The National News Desk, Christina De Leon, is in Kerr County with more on the massive search and the questions that many are asking about the early warnings many never received.
Officials in Kerr County have confirmed that already 95 people have been confirmed killed. Of those, 59 are adults and 36, sadly, are children. The sheriff here said that 161 people are considered still missing, and that search crews are still working to get to most of those remote areas.
There are rural areas that may experience extended response times, areas where cell service is spotty, where the area is single-lane bridges and low water crossings.
Kerr County Sheriff Letha's comments came just 5 days after historic flooding devastated areas along the Guadalupe River. By horseback above the searchers are still looking along the banks, and by K9 on the ground, search and rescue crews continue here. This group came from El Paso to help any way they could. Even a makeshift dam was built to help with the flow of the water from Cruz and Upton County. That's 52 miles south of Odessa. They brought heavy equipment in to help any way they could.
Our goal was just to help out any way we can. We brought out some big heavy machinery to move things and, take trees, move things out of the way. And obviously we built a dam over here to stop some of the water from getting flooding in so the first responders can get in there.
Meantime, big questions remain about the lack of sirens in the area and about if there was a delay sending out a mass emergency alert Friday morning when the flooding catastrophe was unfolding.
I believe those questions need to be answered to the family of the missed loved ones, to the public. To the people that put me in this office, those need to be, and I want that answer, and we're going to get that answer. And I know that's going to be asked over and over. Please understand that. We're not running, we're not going to hide from everything. That's going to be checked into at a later time. I wish I could tell you that time. I don't know that time.
In the meantime, cleanup here will continue along with the search for everyone who is missing. That is something local officials have said will not stop until everyone is accounted for. I'm Christina De Leon. We will send it back to you.
The victims of the catastrophic floods in Central Texas need our help. Sinclair and the Salvation Army are joining forces for Sinclair Cares Texas Tragedy Relief. The Salvation Army is providing hot meals, hydration, hygiene supplies, shelter, and other support to survivors and first responders. 100% of your donation goes directly to Texas flood relief efforts. To get started, scan that QR code or go to sinclaircares.com. The Philadelphia city worker strike that halted trash pickup is over after more than a week. City officials and the District 33 Workers Union announced both sides reached a tentative agreement today. The mayor said it includes a 3-year contract and a 14% pay increase over 4 years. Union members must ratify the deal. The mayor said trash collection will resume on Monday. Federal courts could soon decide whether trans athletes should be allowed to compete in women's school sports in Oregon. A lawsuit filed in federal court on behalf of 3 student athletes claims Oregon's policy violates Title IX by discriminating against women. It names the Oregon School Activities Association, Oregon's governor, and 3 school districts as defendants.
When males who identify as transgender are allowed to compete in categories designated for females, there inherently necessarily becomes a violation that occurs, and there's no longer the equal opportunity for the females.
If we really think that there is a lack of fairness happening, how do we solve that? And I don't think it's by calling girls men, and I don't think it's by suing to segregate kids from other kids.
Mickey Gillette believes Oregon should adopt a policy like California's, which allowed an extra girl to qualify for any event that had a transgender athlete. The DOJ filed a lawsuit today against California over that policy. The Supreme Court has said it will hear 2 cases next term over the rights of states seeking to ban transgender athletes from women's sports. The Trump administration is threatening Harvard with a possible death sentence when it comes to higher learning. Both the Education Department and HHS have told the New England Commission of Higher Education they have strong evidence to suggest Harvard doesn't meet accreditation standards due to anti-discrimination violations. Without accreditation, Harvard would be barred from all federal funds. The commission says so far they disagree with the government's findings, but they also give schools up to 4 years to come into compliance if found to be in violation of accreditation standards. Harvard has filed multiple lawsuits against the administration this year. Some of the president's most vocal supporters aren't buying the DOJ's memo that the Jeffrey Epstein case is essentially closed. Many speculated the convicted sex offender had a client list full of the most wealthy and influential people in the world. As the National News Desk, Matt Gelka reports, frustration is being directed at the Attorney General.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Plenty of people are, including some of the most staunch Trump supporters in MAGA world. The Justice Department's abrupt announcement this week that there would be no additional documents released in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking and suicide case, and that there was no client list or evidence he was murdered, caused some on the right to erupt.
She's either lazy and incompetent, or she willingly humiliated some of the president's most loyal supporters. I'm going to predict her days are numbered as a member of the Trump administration.
Megyn Kelly represented just some of the MAGA frustration pointed at Attorney General Pam Bondi. Conservative influencers were invited to the White House in February, where they were given Epstein file binders marked Phase 1. The Attorney General raised expectations that there would be more to come as they looked over evidence.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Far-right activist Laura Loomer said Bondi should resign for lying to the American people. Commentator Liz Wheeler, who was invited to the White House in February for the binder event, said the Attorney General should be fired.
She said she would deliver, and she didn't. Something she said, either then or now, is not true. That is a big, big problem.
Bondi tried to clarify her client list comments at a cabinet meeting this week, while the president essentially told supporters to get over it.
It's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
Are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
House Democrats on the Judiciary Committee sent a letter to the Attorney General this week, demanding the release of any Epstein documents that specifically mention President Trump. They also allege there's a DOJ pattern of covering up potentially damaging information relating to the president.
Matt, last month Elon Musk deleted a post where he alleged the president's name was in the Epstein files. They're at odds now, of course, but Musk's word still carries a lot of sway, a lot of weight with the president's base. Has he weighed in?
He sure has, and he is joining the crowd that says they need full transparency on the case. Musk has had a series of posts on the issue, writing in one of them, how can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files?
Live from Washington, D.C., Matt Gelka, thank you. The spread of measles in the U.S. is the worst it's been in over 3 decades. The CDC says there have already been almost 1,300 cases this year, surpassing 2019's total. That year, the country barely kept its status of having eliminated measles. This year's outbreaks began in Texas in February, then spread to 17 other states. The outbreaks are still happening in over a dozen states. U.S. lawmakers are working to ban sales of farmland nationwide to Chinese buyers. This announcement comes as part of a national farm security plan unveiled by Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins yesterday. One California lawmaker is applauding the action, saying she's already been working towards this on a statewide scale unsuccessfully for years.
I've just seen a lot of things across the Central Valley that I just didn't seem very, it just raised a red flag for me. There's ways to hide who the true owners are of land.
According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, 1.4 million acres of farmland in California are foreign-owned. But the bill was vetoed by Governor Gavin Newsom. House Oversight Chairman James Comer slamming President Biden's former doctor, who refused to answer questions before Congress today.
Were you ever told to lie about the president's health? He pleaded the Fifth Amendment. He would not answer that question. The second question, did you ever believe President Biden was unfit to execute his duties? Again, President Biden's White House physician pleaded the Fifth Amendment. This is unprecedented.
An attorney for Dr. Kevin O'Connor said he had to plead the Fifth because of patient privacy and the DOJ investigation into Biden's auto pen use. Republicans subpoenaed O'Connor last month as part of their investigation into Biden's mental fitness. President Trump nominee for the director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is a step closer to confirmation. Today, the Senate Health Committee voted to advance Susan Monadas to the full Senate. She was chosen as acting director in January, then Trump's nominee in March after he withdrew his original pick, David Weldon. Coming up, why President Trump is now lending his support to push for 500% tariffs on countries buying Russian energy. Then, the steps TikTok users may have to take to stay on the app as a new set of owners becomes more likely. Then, a new development in the criminal case of a poll watcher who refused to wear a mask during the election last fall. We're back in 90 seconds. U.S. weapon shipments to Ukraine have resumed a week after the Defense Department ordered a pause, according to the Associated Press. This as President Trump publicly expresses his anger with Russian President Putin. The National News Desk, Atra El-Nashar, has the details in newly released audio of Trump detailing a threat he says he made to Putin before the war.
Ukraine in recovery mode Wednesday after what President Volodymyr Zelensky confirms is the largest aerial assault in a single day since the start of the war. Following Russia's attack, Zelensky says in a translated post, this is yet another proof of the need for sanctions, biting sanctions against oil, which has been fueling Moscow's war machine with money for over 3 years of the war. Secondary sanctions on those who buy this oil and thereby sponsor killings. After months of lobbying the White House, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says he finally has Trump's support for his bipartisan sanctions bill that, among other penalties, would impose a 500% tariff on goods from countries that buy Russian energy.
That it is powerful, scorching, bone-crushing sanctions on China and India for buying Russian oil and fueling Russia's war machine.
President Trump this week also reversing the Pentagon's pause on weapons shipments to Ukraine, a pause that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reportedly didn't fully clear with the president before implementing last week. It comes as the president is publicly growing angry with Putin.
We get a lot of thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
In another newly revealed moment of the president being candid about Putin, authors of the new book, 2024, How Trump Retook the White House and the Democrats Lost America, obtained this audio of then-candidate Trump during a campaign fundraiser in May last year.
Putin, I said, if you go in to Ukraine, we're going to bomb Moscow. I'm telling you, I have no choice. The public wants it. The public. So he goes like, I don't believe you. He said, no way, and I said, way.
On Wednesday, leaders of both the House and the Senate said that they're ready to proceed with the sanctions bill, potentially before lawmakers leave town for their extended August recess. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atra El-Nashar for the National News Desk, America's News Now.
Ritz peanut butter cracker sandwiches are being recalled because of an allergy risk. Individually wrapped packages inside certain cartons could be mislabeled as cheese. The FDA said this could be life-threatening for those with peanut allergies. The recall affects 80, 20, and 40-pack peanut butter cracker sandwich cartons, as well as 20-pack variety pack cartons. New tonight, it's looking more likely that TikTok users in the U.S. will eventually have to download a new app to enjoy the video sharing platform. TikTok is building an American version of its app with a September deadline ahead of a potential sale, according to Reuters. President Trump says he has a buyer, but it's not clear if Beijing will allow the algorithm to be transferred. TikTok and its parent company ByteDance have not commented. The streaming service Max is now HBO Max. Again, users will see the once familiar black and white branding when they log in. Warner Brothers Discovery announcing the rebrand in May, with the CEO saying it could further accelerate the platform's growth. The company changed the name to Max in 2023, aiming to reflect a portfolio that didn't just house HBO content. President Trump is thanking Florida officials for renaming a road after him, calling it a wonderful honor. Palm Beach County board members just voted to change part of South Boulevard to President Donald J. Trump Boulevard. The 4-mile stretch goes from Palm Beach International Airport to Mar-a-Lago. Official maps won't change, but signs will be installed in the coming months. It's important to stay well hydrated in this summer heat, but not just with what you drink. Medical reporter Liz Bonis shares new research which shows you really can eat your water.
Hey there, everybody. It's not the usual thing you may think of when you need hydration, but several foods now in season make the list of thirst-quenching foods.
It may seem obvious, but watermelon tops the list. It's one of the foods Harvard researchers say meets the high hydration standard. Some foods contain up to 96% of water by weight. Most of them are plant-based, and while there are lots of reasons to eat more fruits and vegetables,
when people ask me as a dietitian, like, what's the magic pill I can do to live a healthier life? Eat more fruits and vegetables.
They really can help keep your body cool as a cucumber, especially when you're outside. And yep, cucumbers make the Eat Your Water list too. Iceberg lettuce, no surprise, is like eating a bowl of water. Oranges and grapefruits are kind of like that too. They also contain electrolytes that you need as you sweat this time of year. Berries, especially strawberries, make the hydrating hero list according to women's health researchers. So do tomatoes, celery, grapes, zucchini, and cabbage. And they're packed with fiber too.
Fruits and vegetables are so nutriently dense. They have all the vitamins and minerals your body needs, but also dietary fiber. And dietary fiber, it's that good carbohydrate that helps clean your system out. So it helps you go be nice and irregular, keeps your blood cholesterol nice and low, and really just helps you to feel good.
And since about 20% of our daily fluid intake usually comes from food, a few outside the produce aisle are high in protein. They can help you eat your water too. They include cottage cheese and yogurt. You can eat the regular kind with good gut bacteria, or even the frozen kind, which can help you chill out too.
Now, you still do need to drink water, even with these higher hydration foods. It's suggested you not wait until you're thirsty to drink fluids. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
It's almost dinner time here. We're all hungry. Just watching that report. Coming up next here, how artificial intelligence is helping emergency dispatchers at 911 call centers. We'll be right back in 90 seconds. Reporters all across the country in your neighborhoods covering issues that matter to you. We are taking the pulse of America, and we start in Virginia, where AI is helping free up emergency response resources.
Arlington County's 911 call center is one of the first in the nation to use Amazon AI technology for non-emergency calls. Administrator Jacob Sauer says it's been a game changer for the past year and a half.
It shortens the call time, and it frees up our telecommunicators to answer 911 calls instead of spending time on non-emergency calls.
Numbers from the county show non-emergency calls went down by nearly 16,000 the first quarter of this year compared to last year.
Tell me exactly what happened.
This tech can do a lot, and there's even more features coming down the pike. But it's still no Chris.
There's a lot of things that telecommunicators are trained to listen for and do on a 911 call that is just not applicable for AI.
Tracy Abel is one of 2 election observers who tried to view the elections process without a mask in Island County last fall. At the time, the policy was set by the county auditor after her staff had previously gotten sick with COVID-19. Those who did not want to wear a mask were still allowed to observe the elections process from the hallway, though Abel says her view was obstructed there.
And it's just totally unconstitutional.
Both Abel and Tim Hazlow were asked to leave and hit with criminal charges, including unauthorized access to a voting center, disorderly conduct, and criminal trespass.
I'm also obligated.
Abel's case is still ongoing, but Hazlow's case is now heading to trial with a jury seated after several hours of questioning.
Megan Waterwash celebrated her mom's birthday with a short hike, not really concerned about what might crash the party.
I don't worry about it because I've never had a tick, so I think it is just part of life, but it's not on the front of my mind all the time.
But Ohio State tick expert Timothy McDermott says it should be for all of us.
I like to say Ohio is on the front lines, really, the forefront of tick expansion.
He says warmer weather has helped more species thrive and in more places, like the woods, but also on mowed grass.
The speed of change really has gone from 0 to 100 miles per hour in really just about the past 10 years.
Coming up, a major announcement for Major League Baseball's upcoming All-Star game. Why we see next Tuesday, what we see then, could be the beginning of the big league's future. As we come back on the air live, look at Truist Park here in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Atlanta Braves. Next Tuesday night, it will host Major League Baseball's All-Star game, and in that game, for the first time in the Summer Classic, umpires will be assisted by the automated ball strike system. Each team will be given 2 pitch challenges that can only be called for by the pitcher, catcher, or batter. A successful challenge to overturn a call result in an extra challenge. The MLB tried it in select preseason games this spring, and about 70% of fans polled said they liked it. Not unlikely the majors will roll it out during regular season games as early as next year. And that is going to do it for us for this edition of the National News Desk. We invite you, of course, to join us again this evening as we look into the criminal investigations launched by the FBI into former FBI Director James Comey and former CIA Director John Brennan. I'm Didi Gatton here in Washington. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tonight.